Today we have something a little bit different from what we usually do. Yes, we do have a movie review, but it's a movie from the 1940s. This is one of the oldest movies I have ever seen, and it's held as an absolute classic, one of the best movies of all time. That movie is Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane follows the death of publishing tycoon Charles Foster Kane, and reporters scramble to uncover the meaning of his final utterance, Rosebud. The reason I am reviewing this movie is because today, Friday the 4th of December, Mank has just been released on Netflix. Mank is heavily involved with Citizen Kane. I'll get onto that when I review Mank. But yeah, so I thought now's a great time to review a classic movie which I hadn't seen up until yesterday when I intended to review this. So I'm going to let you know what I think of Citizen Kane exactly. And at some points I can really see why this is held as one of the greatest movies of all time. If you watch through it nowadays the first time, from your general knowledge of movies, you won't be that impressed with it. It will just seem like kind of an average thing, but the main brilliant thing from this is the camera work, the film techniques, and you really have to keep in mind when this movie was made in the 40s, 1941 I believe to be exact. It's very ahead of its time. All these techniques to show people's expressions where it zooms in on their face when they're angry, or just some wide shots, even ones which would have been held as abstract at the time, which have been used a lot now. That's why it won't have as much an effect. But this is the first time a lot of filming techniques were used in, well, film, and since then it's had a huge impact on the film industry, thus creating some of these things to be very generic nowadays. So that itself is why it is held at such a legendary status, and I can understand how it really changed the industry just from the brilliant ways in which it was filmed. But like I said, if you just go into it as your normal moviegoer, then you won't find it too special. But going into this, knowing that it changed the genre, has really made an impact on this industry. I could really see some brilliance here, especially just the time it was made, and taking into account this was a first-time director, a young director, Orson Welles at the time, who had only really done theatre work. Take nothing away from that praise I just gave it, but the plot itself is very straightforward, very simple, told in the ways of flashbacks, as a huge thing happens right at the start. Just like the plot, the dialogue was pretty average. I did have a huge problem, which I've seen that many people do as well, is a main thing tied to the biggest scene in this whole movie. I don't want to go into it too much as spoilers, but I had a big problem there because there's such a huge plot hole there, which I couldn't get out of my mind. It was very irritating. It was a very big plot hole, and just the reveal of Rosebud at the end I found a bit anticlimactic. Didn't find it as interesting. I know it's open to interpretation, but still I was a little bit disappointed. But just because of these, don't take anything away from the classic that this movie is. Citizen Kane was a game changer for the film industry, with all its abstract ways of using film techniques. The plot itself, it's quite simple. The main thing was the film techniques. However, I did not find it as amazing as I expected it would be, and as everyone else has said, it's hailed as one of the greatest movies of all time. Unfortunately, I have to disagree in my opinion, perhaps because I'm quite young. I turn 18 next week, and maybe that's why I didn't appreciate it as much as other people will. Maybe I'll appreciate it more in time, but at this moment I just couldn't see why it was held so amazingly. I know that's controversial, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm just giving it how I think it is, and I know I'll probably earn a dislike on this video, but I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's a really well made, and everything else is pretty solid, but I'm just saying, compared to a lot of other movies I've seen, it didn't blow me away too much. This may change in time, but I'm going to give Citizen Kane a 74%, so come at me if you disagree. So there is my review of Citizen Kane, a very old movie as I mentioned. Please let me know in the comments what you think of it if you have seen it, and if you're intending to watch Mank, or if you've already seen it, because it's actually out at this moment. But yeah, I'm going to go now. I'm going to go finish the rest of Big Mouth Season 4, and I'll be back with a review of that hopefully tomorrow, but until then, see you soon.